Hi guys, and welcome to the 11th episode of Team Talk. Today, this is a special one as I'm actually joined by two co-hosts. Coming first to the not so new person, but he's only been on one episode before. So, Frim, how you doing?
Hello guys, how you doing?
And our regular, who's been on almost every episode, Sam, how you doing?
Hello everyone, I'm good, thank you. You?
Thank you, you. Oh wait, you're talking to me, aren't you? That's fucking stupid.
Thank you. You?
Just because you said every, and I thought like, they ain't gonna fucking reply, are they? Anyway, today we're going to be speaking about England as its international break, and we thought there's nothing better to do than when an international squad gets announced than to discuss who definitely shouldn't be in there and who we think maybe deserved the chance and didn't get it. As the Euros are coming up this year or this summer, this sort of squad is a real sort of telling factor as to what the squad will probably be in the summer, and we'll definitely do a video on that in the future over what we think the final squad will be close to the end of the season when we know who's going to be fit and who's probably finished the season better or worse. But to start, really, we want to go in with the players who have got in and we really don't think should have made it, especially based on how they're playing. So do you two want to kick it off with who you think maybe has been very lucky to get into this squad?
Eric Dyer.
Yeah, I was literally just definitely.
I don't know how that geezer's got in the squad.
I
do think, like, carry on.
I feel like a few weeks ago, or no, a few months back, you could have had an argument to include him. He was poor, but he was starting every game practically for Spurs. But now he's not even playing for Spurs. He's poor and he's not playing. So it's like, what's the real reason for playing?
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest. I think I feel like Southgate seems to have like the memories of that 2018 World Cup live too deep in him. Like the players like Trippier, Dyer, like Lingard. I'm sure if Ali could play a couple of games for Spurs towards the end of the season, like he'd get in as well. Just because
because they once done it. He thinks he's sort of living on the hype, don't he?
Which I think is a bit sort of dangerous because I feel like in that World Cup, although it was like amazing to watch, we did play like some like the teams we played weren't great.
Yeah.
To get to the semi-final anyway, and I think not that takes away from the achievement, but I think like Dyer, all he done was really score a penalty, and that he seems to have delivered. Yeah, but that's the thing. I feel like any professional player should be able to take a good pen.
Yeah,
that's got 6 years in the squad, mate.
One moment shouldn't sort of define their future.
Yeah, I think there's almost. I think it's bad when no Tottenham fan would argue that Dyer should be in there.
Yeah.
Like, I know that most fans will sort of defend their own players to the death, sort of thing. Like they'll argue they should be in or they're better than a different team's player. But I don't think you could catch any Spurs fan arguing that Dyer deserves to be in England.
Yeah. Well, most of them don't even want him to start for Spurs, do they? So. You ask exactly. About England, they're probably thinking, what's he doing there?
Yeah, so I think he's definitely the first one. I mean, I think the defence is quite an odd one, really, because I don't think, other than him, I don't think there's any people I'd look at that list and go, yeah, that's like, you need to not be there. Like, whereas Dyer is one of those.
I think another defender is Chilwell. He shouldn't. I feel like he has the ability. I'm not disagreeing with the ability. He's definitely got. I don't know. It feels like since he's gone from Leicester to Chelsea, I feel like under Frank he was good and he warranted a position in the England team. But recently he hasn't been that good. I don't feel like. Although I haven't watched Chelsea every game, but then I noticed that he hasn't even been starting most games. It's been Alonso.
I think, to be honest, Chilwell's quite lucky that one, he plays for Chelsea, and I feel like the people at the bigger clubs always get a bit of an extra chance.
Yeah.
But I also think he's lucky that England don't really like left back's not exactly
have a strong left back. Yeah.
Yeah. Like if anything, Shaw should definitely start for England 100%, no matter what. But if you'd have said that last year, everyone would have been laughing at you because Shaw was like barely starting over Brandon Williams for Man United last season.
They were talking about getting rid of Shaw, weren't they?
Yeah, so
like a replacement.
I think Chilwell's kind of lucky that he's been good, but he's never been amazing, and I think that's why he's kind of he's never really been challenged. Like the fact that Saka a few months ago could have been starting left back over Chilwell, like shows how.
I feel like Chilwell's price sort of because what was it, 50 mil?
Yeah, 50 mil.
I feel like because of that, the same with like Maguire. Although I think Maguire's like he should be there, but because Maguire's 80 mil, Chilwell's 50 mil, it's the same. Like big signing, he must be good. Let's include him.
Like Eva said, if you play for a top 6 club, you've got more chance of getting into like international football.
Yeah.
But then you also like, if you think about him, I know it's a bit of a ridiculous one, but Matty Target's had a good season.
Yeah, he's been really good.
He could have potential to get into the squad. I know this is only like a World Cup qualifiers, and it's not going to be the full squad what you can take to the Euros. Yeah. But if he's trying to experience and trying that new different players, he should have really dropped Chilwell and put maybe Matt Target in and played him against Albania or something like that.
Yeah, definitely.
I just think Target's unfortunate because I think he's like 26 and this is the first ever season he's played that he's actually been good.
He's been alright, but I think where Villa have been so like good this season and kept so many clean sheets, and you think their whole back line is a back four, I think like they're all English. It's like, and you think they got the third amount of top shit clean sheets this season?
Yeah, 14.
There's a bit of a talk for that to have your back line as Villa, but that sounds ridiculous. So I know they'll never do that, but you can see why that's in the conversation sometimes.
I'm pretty sure England's back four used to be like almost Arsenal's back four in the 90s.
Dixon, Keown, Adams, and
with Winterburn like the only one who didn't get in, wasn't he? He was like. Because I don't know who they had left back, but
it was pretty much a back five, weren't it? Because he had Seaman, Dixon, Keown, Adams, and then like you said, Winterburn. I think it was Omar at the time saying.
That's why I quite like Villa because a lot of their players are English, aren't they? It feels like they contribute, like that obviously contributes more to the national team. Although not all of them are in it, they're all sort of trying to push for it, so promote sort of. Yeah,
I do think the sort of peak thing really for Villa is I think Matty Cash is so much better than Matt Target, but obviously we have like 9 million right backs, so like Cash is probably never going to get a chance, even though if he was exactly the same level player but a left back, he'd be our second best left back at the moment.
Yeah. See, I was talking about players who were lucky to get in there. I think Reece James is another player who's lucky to get in there.
Yeah, he's been a bit flat this season, hasn't he?
He hasn't really. Yeah, if you think Callum Hudson-Odoi was playing right wing back this season, like, at the part of the season, so I think he's another player that's been lucky to get there. I think it's just absolutely criminal that Michael Keane and Aaron Wan-Bissaka are both not in this squad. Like obviously, he's given Trent a lot of. Like, Trent last year was probably one of the best fullbacks in the world. And he gave him, and then the year before that, he was sensational as well. And Wan-Bissaka is probably one of the best defensive fullbacks in the Premier League. I wouldn't say in the world, but definitely in the Premier League. And
he should be given a shot in the world, to be honest.
Yeah, like there's not many players that can get past him.
I
think what he's thinking about is the teams we're playing in the qualifiers. They're not really attacking teams. I think the hardest game is Poland. So whereas Wan-Bissaka he's not a threat going forward. He's probably thinking if I could try Reece James, who's better going forward, or Kyle Walker, who's got a mixture of both, then they might get more use out of them.
Got to think these are to prepare us for the Euros. So surely they're thinking, even though these ones ain't attacking, if they might want to take them to the Euros. So I think even though they're not attacking, we'll still include them in the squad.
But is it just a waste?
The other players playing.
I think the way I see it with Wan-Bissaka is he should almost be taken in the sense of, because like for example, like someone like Trippier, like there's no point in being in there, really. But like the way I'd see it is, say for example, you look at that sort of the people they've brought, like James, Trippier, and Walker. I mean, even then you kind of be surprised that any of them really like starting over like Trent or someone really. But say England were to go with a back five, you'd probably assume they'd want to go with like Carl Walker maybe, but or maybe
go
Reece James.
right wing, right centre back.
In my opinion,
I think he would suit right centre back Wan-Bissaka.
No, just full back.
I do not think though. Say for example, England cruised like the group stage, cruised around the 16, then comes up to quarterfinals, and then they're like, okay, right, you got to play against Portugal, you got to play against France.
Yeah.
Would you be more confident if say you look at the team sheet and you've got like Reece James or Carl Walker up against Mbappe or Ronaldo or Wan-Bissaka? Because I'd be like, well,
it all depends on the opponent.
Care if you're playing against Mbappe, I'd much rather Wan-Bissaka's playing right back, because I know that we might not score as many goals or be as much of a threat,
but you're going to keep him quiet.
Yeah. And Mbappe's their best player, Ronaldo's their best player. Like a lot of teams' best players play on the left. Hazard, Belgium, if he's fit. Like you want, and Wan-Bissaka is probably one of the best defensive fullbacks in the world. So
yeah, I agree.
Yes, that's what I mean. It all depends.
Too much on, like for Trent, for example, he's a good player, but they focus too much on their goal contributions or what they're doing going forward, when actually we should step back. Their main job is defending.
Yep.
And no right back is better than him at defending. So I think that's why just the style of play that we're sort of moving into, Southgate just sort of goes past him and doesn't even think about him because he wants to start attacking the fullbacks. But you have the attackers to do that job. You've got to you need the balance, don't you?
The only thing is I mean, I don't know, but do you think Wan-Bissaka would be able to play right? I mean, he might have done it for United and I might just not remember, but would he be able to play right wing back in like a back five? Because I feel like if he can't really go forward, would he almost get like... Because they always play a back four at United. Like, would he almost
I feel like
get...
he has... When I watched him for United, he has got better going forward. I feel like if we said it 2 seasons ago, you'd be like, yeah, he's rubbish going forward. But now he's not actually too bad. He's not like, obviously, Trent's level.
Yeah, he's getting more like goal, like he's creating more assists. And...
Yeah, I don't think that's like a massive weakness for him anymore.
But compared to what obviously the other options we have at right back, that's what I mean. It all depends on the opposition. So that's why I think it'll be a waste for him to go to this Europe qualifiers, because if you think about it, we've got San Marino, Albania, and Poland. They're not going to cause us.
We should dominate the ball.
Yeah, they shouldn't cause us any threat at all. So by putting him on, it's just a waste for. I know it's obviously a cap, and every player would love to play for their national team, and it's the national cap. But for squad wise, it is pointless him being there, and I couldn't see him really playing.
I'm in disagreement there. I think if we're thinking of taking him to the Euros, now's the time to. Even if it is sort of a waste to put him on the pitch, you want the players playing now are the ones you want in the Euro team. So unless Southgate's saying no, we're not taking him. Don't take
this is World Cup qualifiers, isn't it? It's not like it's friendlies. It's World Cup qualifiers. Yeah. Obviously, at the moment they're probably going to be friendlies because the competition's so bad.
Yeah.
Like it's not like it's hard games. Apart from maybe Poland, obviously they've got Lewandowski. They've got a few like Flapianski in goal. So they've got a few like decent players, but compared to what we'll be playing in the Euros, it's completely different.
Yeah. I do agree with what you said as well about. I was quite surprised Michael Keane didn't get in as well.
Yeah, it's mad. Or Konsa.
Because I was going to say that as well. I personally think Konsa is better than Mings.
Mings, yeah.
But I think again, it's that thing with Southgate. Like I feel like Mings kind of got like a bit of a rise into the England squad when we didn't really have any centre backs.
He's more of a leader, I think. Though I think that's what he was looking at. I think he's more of a if you see his Villa's captain, he's older. Well, how Mings is like 23, 27, ain't he, Mings?
I
Or is
think
he a
he's
bit...
younger than that. Isn't he like 25?
So, yeah, Konza's only in his early 20s, so you can see
So,
why he potentially put Mings over Konza. But the partnership, like I said, Villa's,
I think
how many clean sheets they had? Why not put them back as a partnership?
I think it's just that thing of in my head. I think
Oh, Mings is 28. Didn't know that.
you've got to think and like it's not like you almost like I'm probably almost 100% sure that Maguire's going to start every game.
Yeah.
So if we're playing a back three, Maguire's probably going to play on the left centre back because that's where he did in the World Cup. So then you'd assume
Stones.
John Stones is going to go in the middle like he did at the World Cup, and he might. I mean, I'd be quite sick if he ends up going with Walker in right centre back with Trippier on the right wing back because that's basically the same team from the World Cup, and with all the extra talent we've got now, you'd think he'd be able to pull something else better. But
Odie should be in there, I think.
I don't know. The problem is, it depends whether he wants someone a bit more mobile. Because obviously, you got to think If Stones, Cody, and Maguire all play in defence, then the quickest one out of the three is going to be John Stones, who's not obviously slow, but I feel like with the back three, I think Southgate quite likes the idea of having like Stones and Maguire who are very good on the ball, but are like quite good in the air as well. Whereas Walker is like that do it all, where he's rapid, but he's also good defender.
I feel like the only reason why Connor Cody will play if it is in the back five.
I don't think he'll start whatsoever because I don't think he's had a good enough season. I think if anything, he might be someone who doesn't even get in the squad. But I think he'll be lucky to get in because of how well he's played this season. But I think what he might be lucky on and what might get him in over like Mings and someone else like Michael Keane is the fact that he could almost be the backup for like John Stones as centre back, like because that's the only position he can play, like the middle defender in a back five.
And he's such a good leader as well. Like his leadership skills, and he just shouts all game, and he just gives everyone such a hard time. So I think obviously he could be another person. That's why you say about a replacement for John Stones if anything does happen.
Yeah. Because you got to remember, this squad's got to be cut down. Like obviously, I don't know how many people I'd have to like count, but obviously there's too many people that have been picked for this squad that
it seems like
Euros.
every time you have like 5 new players or like 3 new players. It's just how will we get more players when we need like it's because we just need like a set team, don't we?
I think there's 27 in this squad, so there's 4 too many.
Yeah.
So like in almost in the defence, the midfield, and the up front, and then one other person is not going to be able to go. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see who he does cut, and I think in those defenders options, it's going to be either Mings or Cody because you don't need that many. I feel like maybe one of the fullbacks as well, but I just feel like one of those two is going to be cut, and I feel like it might be Cody.
I feel like if Chilwell don't step up, he could be, because you think if we've got Shaw, and then Saka can cover that, Mings can cover that.
Yeah, I reckon Saka will be like that sort of shining light for Southgate, where he can always get away with keeping another defender in.
Yeah.
Keeping another space for another forward, because that's what at the end of the day in like a World Cup, what you want is different options for different scenarios.
Yeah.
The last thing you want is like the exact same as someone else. You always kind of want.
It's too predictable, isn't it?
Yeah, like as in you want to be able to like sub off, like say England are losing, you want to be able to put like Calvert-Lewin up next to Kane. So if you want to boot the ball long, you can play it long. Both of them two can hold it up and bring other people into play. If you want to hold out a game more, you can bring on, or if you want to play against a tough opposition, you put Wan-Bissaka on instead of Trent. You play you can play Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips rather than Declan Rice and Henderson or Bellingham, depending on if Henderson's fit. Like we don't know. So
I think
carry on.
I think there's a few. Are we talking about people that we should include for this one now, or for the Euros?
This one now.
If it's for this one now, I think I've got a few names. You might not agree with all of them, but I don't think Jesse Lingard. I think he's turned himself around, but he's only played like 6 or 7 games. and the first 2 goals in the first game are keeper mistakes. I feel like if he keeps going out with years now, then he's definitely should be up for like a shout. But I feel like it's too soon. Well, I think people like Smith Rowe or Curtis Jones, I feel like have more of a reason to be included.
They just got put in the 21 squad, so I think obviously they can't.
They've been like consistently good for like quite a while now. While Lingard's only had 7 games good.
Lingard's like an X Factor story, though, and it's just a sub. Obviously, he's gone through a lot, but
I think he's
it is like a sub story to get you into the final.
Yeah, I was literally going to say that. The only reason is literally like the whole like we said earlier, the Kieran Trippier, like Eric Dyer type factor is the fact that because he's been there before, and like you said, Sam, about all the stuff that he's had in his personal life, it almost gives Southgate that thought of, oh well, the only reason why he was poor for like 1.5, 2 years is because of that.
Because of that, now he's found his form.
Yeah.
I think it's too soon. I feel like if he keeps his form up, then yeah, he could be in for a shout for the Euros. But doing it now, I feel like
the only thing I'd say is, to me, if say for example Maddison is fit by the end of the season, I think it would be disrespectful to him if Lingard goes, because I think Maddison, although he's been injured like a couple of times, when he's fit, he makes that Leicester team play like a world-class team.
Yeah.
And I think it's so unfair if he doesn't get in purely because Lingard's like done
because
it
of his name.
Yeah. But I
can't see Madders getting in at all.
I don't think either of them get in because I just think
too many cams. You think you got Jack Grealish, you got obviously Phil Foden, Mount. Yeah,
see, I'd rather Maddison over Mount, to be honest.
I don't know about
such a hard situation. I think maybe last season 100%, but I think Mount this season it's been
Mount's been Chelsea's best player this season.
I think Mount's a good player, but I don't get the. I think he's a really good player, but I don't get the hype over him.
I think the thing with Mount, the reason why I feel like there's hype is because if you look at him and watch him, like technically, you don't look at him and go like, do you know, like when you look at Foden, you go like, okay, right, this guy could play against anyone, and you'd be like, he's got such a high ceiling. Same with like Saka, even like Hudson-Odoi, like people like that. You watch him and you go, this guy, like he's got the ability to be like the best player in the world if he really wants it. Whereas with Mount, you don't think that, but he still like produces week in, week out, and I think that's why it's so impressive.
Yeah, I guess he is consistent, isn't he?
But I do think one thing he does need to do is he needs to sort of add like the more assists in the sense of like open play. Cause I know he's like gets a lot of his like chances created and stuff are all from like set pieces. But it's not obviously a bad thing, but it's that thing of if say like for England, if say he wasn't taking free kicks, because I mean Kane you'd assume would take some, maybe other people might take them. Maybe like would he still stand out as much? I don't know, but I think he definitely deserves to go. And I mean, I think with the emergence of Foden, I do think people like Maddison and Lingard will struggle to get in, just because it's otherwise you've got too many players who are all too similar.
Yeah, I just think, I just really rate Maddison. I think he's a very good player, so he deserves it, I think.
Yeah, no, I mean, I didn't say any midfielder who has got a shot on him, I always like to watch, because then you think like defenders have got to not only like watch where he's going to try and pass it to, but also they can't let him get too close to the goal because they know that he can hit one from 25 yards straight into the top corner. So I do like Maddison.
I don't think he should start for us. But I feel like if we brought him on as a sub, he would be good for us.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Like rarely I've watched him and just thought, oh, you're not having a good game.
Yeah,
we've always just looked on it.
No, I think that's quite a good point actually. I think another player in the midfield who maybe I don't necessarily think he shouldn't be there, but I don't rate him as much as a lot of people do. But I don't think James Ward-Prowse is that good of a football player. I just think he's good at free kicks.
Yeah,
I think he's done bits for Southampton. I think he's been Southampton's best player this season. Obviously, you got like obviously the striking partner of Ings and Che Adams, but I don't think they would be anywhere near have had the games or the wins that they've had this season if it weren't for James Ward-Prowse. I think he deserves to be there more than most people there. I think he definitely.
His free kicks are carrying him a bit. He's a good player.
I just feel like he's one of those where like he's so good at free kicks that it almost saves the fact that he's just an average player.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? It's that thing of like if like I'm not saying it's like as a too much, but say like someone like El Neni, if he was exactly the same level player he is, but he like scored like 5 free kicks a season or something, or 3 free kicks a season, and also put like quite a few assists on as well from free kicks, and it'd be like the same thing.
I don't think I agree with that.
But I don't know. I just think that he's a bit overrated because of the fact he's so good.
He deserves to be in the squad for this, but not for the Euros. I don't think.
Just who does he outplay? Because like it's one of those where you think
Calvin Phillips.
No,
Calvin Phillips is so much better than Ward-Prowse though.
Yeah, I think the only reason why Calvin Phillips is in the squad now is because of Henderson's not in there. Calvin Phillips should not be in it.
Yeah, but
wasn't he in there? He was in there last time when he was with Henderson and Rice.
Yeah, but he was. That was how bad did we play when we put Calvin Phillips and Rice in the midfield?
Oh yeah, I mean I don't think
that's the most negative football I've ever seen. That's so boring.
I don't think that. I think the problem with that though is that Calvin Phillips and Rice played like the same position.
So that's why I don't think he should be in there. And that's why I think Ward-Prowse should be there because he's a different midfielder.
But I feel like with Ward-Prowse, the only reason why you have him in the team is because he might score a free kick.
But then look what Beckham done against Greece.
Yeah, but Beckham was actually a good footballer though.
Yeah, I don't understand, but I'm just if you talk about free kicks, they can win you games.
Well, it didn't win us the last World Cup, did it?
Yeah,
it's not going to win you. It's not going to win you like a whole tournament. But I'm saying it can help you progress. And I think, like you're saying, you need different styles. Why would you have the 2 players exactly?
But I think he deserves. I think I would take him over James Ward-Prowse, to be honest.
To be fair, I guess you could take Ward-Prowse purely for the fact of what would happen if you were like 2-1 down in like the 93rd minute and you get a last minute free kick. I mean, it'd be a lot of pressure for him to play his first minute of the whole tournament and he's in the final and you just bang him on a free kick. And it was like, oh, that's it, you dickhead, get him out.
Yeah, sub him straight off after.
Yeah. The whistle's about to go and there was like, no, right, we're subbing him off.
But do you really think Calvin Phillips has been like a really a good enough player to be in the squad this season? I know he's been injured a lot, but I don't think he has.
I think yes, I do.
When he plays, he's so much better.
He has only just come back from injury, though, hasn't
he? Yeah, I don't know. I really like him.
I do like him. Yeah,
he's got a good passing. Like his attribute of passing is unreal, and he can spray a ball, and obviously that's what Rice hasn't got. He can't pass. He can't pass the ball compared to like Phillips. But I'd much rather play Rice and Hendo any day of the week. I'd rather have Rice and Mount.
I sometimes think Henderson and Phillips, and not Rice.
No way. You cannot have this England squad without Rice.
I don't. I think Rice is a good player, but I don't rate him as much as everyone else rates him.
Oh my god.
I think. What? Do you think Henderson's going to be fit? I worry that he might not be back in time.
I don't know. Yeah, I think it's this month, ain't it? He's back.
Like, surely, say Henderson comes back, right? Say Henderson comes back and plays like 2 games. Is that fair to play him after such a big injury, after having like surgery and stuff?
I don't know, because he is a leader, isn't he, on the pitch?
Yeah.
He gives more than just...
I almost think based on how good he's been, he has to go. But it's that thing of am I just saying that out of pity rather than?
I feel like he has to, just because how good he's been. He's elite. Like, you can't have everyone going that's just technically really good or whatever. You need some players that are leaders.
Yeah.
You need experience as well. Obviously, this team's very young.
Yeah.
You need leaders and you need experienced players. You need that mixture.
You need that one, say if we go 1-0 down, to sort of pick everyone up. Get everyone going and try and get the comeback. And Yeah, I just think he's a massive character for that.
I wouldn't mind having Kane like boot the defender's leg when the ball's off the pitch a couple of times as well to get us to the final. That'd be quite nice.
Boot a defender's leg?
Yeah, whilst the ball's going off the pitch.
So he done against Villa.
Did he?
Basically, right? The ball, he was like, went to cross it.
He basically missed,
And then he
is
stepped.
That the one when he got the pen?
Yeah, he stepped over the ball and then just ran into the tackle.
Yeah.
He fucked up a Cruyff and then just literally just ran into a challenge.
That's what I looked at it a couple of times and thought, I don't know how the VAR guys looked at that and thought, he's literally just gone, yeah, I'm going to ignore the ball here and just run straight into this guy's leg. Because you can't, like, to me, that's more of a penalty than the Lacazette versus, less of a penalty than the Lacazette versus Sanchez one, because at least with that one, like, Lacazette tried to shoot and the defender tried to block it and he clumsily like kind of wiped him out. Whereas with the Kane one, he fully like was like, oh nah, you know what, I don't fancy that. It's good. Ran straight into his
the other week as well, didn't he?
But say again.
Gundogan done that the other week as well. I can't remember who they were. It was about 3-4 weeks ago when they got the pen, and he completely mucked up the skill. I think he went to bring it back and he completely lost the ball, and then the player just took him out and he got a pen for it. But it was like, if the player didn't touch him, the ball was like going out of play.
Yeah, to be fair, sometimes it's unlucky because I think like with what that Cash was trying to do, he was literally trying to block the cross from like a safe distance. Like he wasn't trying to make a tackle, he was just trying to block the cross. And Kane kind of was like, well, he's already sliding now, so I'm just going to run into him. But
just finish him off. I think I got another person you might think's a bit controversial. I think not for the Euro squad, but I think for this trip, is Ben Godfrey. He
hasn't really played. He's good, and he'll be a good centre back in a few years. But I just think at the moment, obviously, he played right back. He's played centre back, but he hasn't really been in.
I think if Michael Keane's not going to get it.
If Michael Keane's not there, then he has, Michael Keane has to, or even Mason Holgate.
Yeah.
I think them two are going before.
I don't think Ben Godfrey's been, like, he's been quite solid in whatever position he's played, and he's played, like, right back, centre back, left back. So a bit like Saka, but Saka can play, like, left back, midfield, or attack. He's the same, but across, like, the back line. So it's sort of, if you put him on, he's going to be reliable. Although it will be like a big jump for him.
Yeah, I just think, like you said, maybe for like a one-off qualifier, but I just think because this is right before the Euros, it's not like, say like in November when there's more international games, he might go then. But because this is right before the Euros, I feel like they just want to be more sensible with who they're picking. And like I said, if like Sam said, if Keane's not going to get in, then he has no right to be in here.
Yeah.
I don't know if he had anyone else, but I think the one big elephant in the room who we haven't mentioned yet, or as far as I'm aware we haven't mentioned yet, is Patrick Bamford.
See, I was just about to bring him up. I was literally going to say, this might sound a bit stupid, but Calvert-Lewin. I know obviously Calvert-Lewin, obviously, you think back to the start.
Sam having a negative opinion about Leeds?
No, I'm not even. I'm saying putting Patrick Bamford in it. I'm just saying Calvert-Lewin. If you go back to the start of the season, he was probably one of the best strikers in the Premier. He was scoring every week. At the moment, he's obviously going through a massive. He's not massive. He scored like I think 2 goals recently, whereas Bamford's still scoring most weeks. Could you really have a case of putting Bamford in this one instead of Dominic Calvert-Lewin?
I think Calvert-Lewin, although he's not contributing goals, when I've watched him, he's still playing well, and he's still like a big player for Everton. So he's still doing his job, but just unfortunately not scoring.
The one thing I will say about Bamford, and this is like me doing a Sam here, but with like Leeds create so many chances, and like my dad's a Leeds fan, and he says that Bamford is one of those players who you have to give him like 6 chances for him to score 1. Yeah. And in an international match, you don't really want that.
Yeah. You think if he's coming on as sub, he's not going to get that, is he?
No. And there's a few games I've been watching this season when like he'd get like a really easy chance and he'd just somehow do like a really awful finish and miss it or mess it up. And
There was a couple against Chelsea, weren't there?
I just think if like you said, if someone's coming on like in the last 10 minutes, you want it to be someone who like when they get a chance they're going to score. And I think that Calvert-Lewin's so much more clinical than him. And I just think even like Ollie Watkins can be a bit wasteful, but surely you'd rather, like, if a chance is falling to someone, I feel like Bamford could either put it right in the top corner or hit it or pass it straight to the keeper. Like, you really don't know. Whereas, like, I feel like Calvert-Lewin, he might have been able to hit it top bins, but a lot of time he knows how to get it past the keeper when he gets the chance. So I'd much prefer him, and I guess I can kind of understand. Maybe if it was between Watkins and Bamford, I'd probably almost want to say Bamford might deserve it more, just because I feel like Watkins has scored a lot of goals in bunches. That's true. But like Watford, I think
Watkins also contributes a lot overall to Villa's performance.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I think it's different though, because you think if Leeds, Bamford's probably the Leeds player that does. Like, obviously, he does do a lot of like, Leeds things that would always run him, but you think Leeds have got more out and out wingers. Like you've got Jack Harrison, you've got Rafinha, and then obviously their midfield is probably a lot better than say maybe Villa's.
Yeah.
So Bamford doesn't have to do as much running or contributing more to the game than maybe Ollie Watkins does. So I think that could be where the difference is between them two. But what I was going to say, talking about obviously like you were saying about Bamford not scoring even that much. Even Bielsa's come out saying that they need a new striker, so that sort of puts a statement out there. Yeah, I think it's the main position that they want to improve on is striker. So that's sort of saying something in itself.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, I do think he does like he could definitely work on his like conversion rate. But and then when it comes to like, international matches, like I said, you just want someone who's like you feel confident. Like because there's a lot of players like even like someone like Danny Ings, like you know that he's not maybe the best forward ever, but if a chance falls to him, you'd feel confident that he's going to somehow put it in the back of the net.
I've got a question. So, say for example, Danny Ings, obviously like, the speculation at the moment, Danny Ings is going to City this season to be a replacement for Aguero. Do you think that puts him straight in the England squad?
Probably. If he starts like over half the games for City, then he's probably straight. He's definitely going to be in there, isn't he? Yeah. I reckon he's going to be in every because as we said earlier, how many times do players get preferential treatment for being in a big club? That's what he will get it. He'll instantly be straight in if he starts a lot of games. If he's just a backup player to Jesus, then probably not.
Yeah, I think they said he's looking to be their replacement, but that's a whole other subject. But he's another player that can go in. Obviously, Sancho's not in the squad. What do you feel about Pickford not being in the squad? Obviously, I know he's made a lot of errors this season, and he obviously made a lot of errors last season.
He's injured.
But if you think internationally, he's always been so consistent.
I think Pope should be our number one.
Pope is shocking with the ball on his feet though. And Southgate likes to play from the back.
For me, a keeper, I want to be better with their hands and their feet.
Yeah, I understand that. I think Pickford is still, if you said consistently in international games, Pickford has been outstanding. Obviously, in the Premier League, it's been a different story. So, if he keeps his consistency, as he has been internationally, I would rather play Pickford over Pope because of the fact that he's also good with his hands and also he's better with his feet.
Yeah.
Because Pope is awful with his feet. He panics and he's like Leno. He just panics with and he can't. His distribution is not as good.
Yeah.
But obviously, maybe I wouldn't start Henderson yet. I think he needs to have a long run of games. Obviously, he's only had he's going to get six at the moment.
He's got the ability, but he just hasn't played that much this season.
Yeah, and he made a big error against AC Milan in the first leg for Man United. So I think he needs.
Sam Johnson's got recognition. Whenever I've watched him for West Brom, he's been really good.
Yeah,
I
he's
know
a
they
good
were
shot stopper.
fighting relegation, but he's been like one of their standout players, I feel like.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it's one of those where Pickford's just going to go straight back in no matter what. I feel like he's like invincible. Another like Maguire type player who just seems to have.
I think he's
diamonds
just
on.
proven it. He's
I
just
don't
proven
know.
it internationally.
I just think he's done well, but I just
But no
think
one else has been given the chance to prove it.
it's just that thing, isn't it? Of like in that sense, you'd almost say how many players who've played for England recently would you say deserve like? Because then could you say like almost like Eric Dyer deserves to play for England because he's all
Eric
for
Dyer's been shocking for England, though. He's never played good for England.
But I just feel like there's so many players who like have a couple good games for England, but I feel like if you're playing crap week in week out, then realistically you just don't deserve it.
Well, you
I
think
don't
like
think Pickford's even been bad recently. I think Pickford's been good. I don't think Pickford has been bad. I think when's the last time you think you made a big mistake?
whenever I see him, he's always a bit shaky. I feel like.
I think ever since Olsen's come in, I think he's made a big impact to how Pickford's playing. It's basically because you think Pickford never really had a competition, and now he's got Olsen. It's sort of just made him like give him a kick up the arse pretty much and start playing better.
That's fair enough. I mean, I guess other than that, other than those people, I can't really think of anyone else who really would deserve a decent shout at being on the plane or even being called up for these qualifiers. To be honest with you, so
Callum Hudson-Odoi.
No, not yet. I feel like he's been too nothing all season to like until recently, and even then like he's been good, but not.
Callum Hudson-Odoi.
No, don't think.
He'll definitely be in the England squad like in the next few years. It's just he needs that run of games, and it's hard to get that at Chelsea.
I feel like under Frank he didn't get a chance. Now he's getting a chance to prove himself. So eventually he might, but I just don't feel like at the moment he has shown enough ability.
Che Adams.
Yeah, Che Adams I think has been playing really well, but then he's been playing really well for Southampton. But then is he pushing for an England spot?
Nah, not yet. Anyway.
Not?
No, not with the players we've got. Like, I don't think he's not yet. Anyway, he's not done enough for me to be in that contention just yet.
No, I'm with you on that one.
So, I think with that being said, that'll probably be it for this video. Is there anything else either of you two want to say on this topic?
No, I think we covered it. All in that.
Cool. Well, that's been that for the 11th episode of Team Talk. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you all in the next one.
See you all soon.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.